moments of magic, of emotion, of memory.
Nolan open. A three-pointer.
The Houston Comets are the first ever champions of the WNBA.
There is just no predicting which way this series will end. No confetti's coming down today. It comes down to this, a showdown in Motown. And in the 10-year history of the WNBA, no team has ever lost the last game of a final series at home.
Move! Get your feet alive! Get alert! Sharp!
But recent history has shown us that on any given night, either of these teams can turn it up and get it done. Smith off the dribble, and it's a 16-point Detroit lead. How about the shot? This is it. No tomorrow. The title is up for grabs today.
Players Cup. We got to go back to Detroit, so let's get it started right now.
The Sacramento Monarchs, the Detroit Shock, in the deciding Game 5 of the WNBA Finals. Next. Welcome to ESPN2's coverage of the WNBA Finals, presented by Vonage. The series ends in Detroit. Joe Louis Arena, the home of the 10-time Stanley Cup champion Red Wings, transformed today for Game 5 of the WNBA Finals. Sacramento and Detroit, as we look at our series summary presented by Toyota. 22 records tied or set in Game 1. Detroit bounces back in Game 2. Sac takes Game 3. And then Detroit outscores Sacramento in Game 4 in the fourth quarter, 16-2, to send the series back to Detroit. Hi, everybody. Dave Pack alongside Doris Burke. Amazing to think Detroit's been blown out twice in the series, and there's a Game 5. If not for Katie Smith's Game 2 second half effort, when she had 16 points, the Shock probably would have been swept.
She personifies toughness. This is a player who, for long stretches in both of their wins, carried them. Her ability to make long-distance shots and big plays all over the floor has been pivotal. Don't expect that she'll shy away from that today.
Doris, on the other side, Yolanda Griffith should be playing in her final WNBA game, contemplating retirement after the season, seeking her second straight Finals MVP award.
Yeah, exactly. She'll have to have an MVP-type performance. She is the rock on the inside. They were challenged physically up front and did not respond. She goes 3 for 13. Combined, the inside game was 7 for 28. You simply must come on the away floor, Dave, with more effort than that.
We will have players' mic today, coaches' mic as well. That's right, Bill Lambier will wear a live mic today. We'll also have reports from both benches, and we'll start on Sacramento with Heather Cox.
Thanks so much, Dave. Following that Game 4 loss, Yolanda Griffith flat out guaranteed a Monarch victory today. However, the big question is, the 36-year-old who, as you said, is contemplating retirement, the question is just how much is left in her tank. Just inches from the finish line moments ago during layup line, Yolanda pulled herself out to seek extra medical attention. The medical staff did tell me with the travel and the rain outside that Yo has some extra soreness and stiffness in those knees. Yo did assure me, though, hey, I might only have 40 more minutes of basketball in my entire life. I will leave everything on the court. On that court, they will face Detroit. For more on Detroit, let's go to Stephanie there. Thanks, Heather. Bill Lambier has stressed focus to his team throughout this series, and to help the Shock along, he put them in a downtown hotel last night in Detroit, despite it being a home game. Cheryl Ford told me that this helped eliminate a lot of the distractions that come when you play at home. This team is hoping that this crowd here will help get them over the hump and clinch this Game 5 today.
And the crowd certainly a factor back in 2003 in Game 3, the deciding game then when Detroit won the championship. Our McDonald's starting lineup will start with Sacramento, Powell, Griffith, and Walker up front. Powell had 13 points in Game 4, but 0 in the second half. In the backcourt, Tisha Penachero and Kara Lawson, who scored just 6 points the last 2 games after 22 points in Game 1. For Detroit, Swin Cash, Ruth Riley, and Cheryl Ford coming off a double-double. And on the backcourt, Deanna Nolan, who played sparingly in Game 4 because of foul trouble, and Katie Smith, the leading scorer in the finals on either side at 17 points per game. Sacramento trying to repeat as champs. Detroit looking for its second WNBA title in the last 4 years. Will we have our first ever road victor in a deciding game? Or will Detroit's home court advantage prevail, even though essentially this isn't home? They're playing at Joe Louis Arena, downtown Detroit, as opposed to the Palace of Auburn Hills. But a very loud arena, and a sold-out crowd expected here today as Nolan starts us off, missing a bank shot, and Yolanda Griffith with the rebound.
Sacramento opens man-to-man. Nolan will test Panachero's ability to keep her in front.
Here's Lawson. She got free for a moment, and that's a great sign for Sacramento.
Now, Becky Hammond in the pregame talked about Detroit's guards being able to outscore Sacramento's guards. You see it early. Lawson being involved. That's a positive sign.
On the other end, of foul called on Nicole Powell, the first foul in the game. Now, we mentioned the fact that in game one, Lawson had 22 points. She set a record that game with 6 threes, 16.5 points per game in the first 2 games. She's only had an average of 3 points per game the last 2. Cash, 74% free throw shooter. Her numbers down in the playoffs, but in the Detroit wins, game 2 and game 4, she's played a major role.
Well, she gives them an additional score. Somebody from the 3 position who can go off the bounce, hit the 15 to 16 face-up. You need 3 legit scores.
Here's Demaya Walker. After a 17-point effort in game 1, her numbers have decreased. Griffith missing twice, but fouled the second time. That will go on Ruth Riley. It's the first Detroit foul, or make that the second Detroit foul.
The first one they had, her first shot.
Yolanda Griffith withdrew from Team USA. The World Championships would start next week in Brazil, in part because of injuries. Didn't want to give up a spot to somebody that she felt might be more deserving, saying that the 2008 Olympics are a long way off. Now, Lisa Leslie pulled out as well of the World Championships, but she expects to play in the Olympics in 08. Well, the Monarchs have 4 points in less than a minute. They had 2 points the entire fourth quarter of game 4. Wired for sound today, the 2 head coaches, Bob Trammell, one of our 3 officials, and Aaron Busher and Flynette Pearson of Sacramento and Detroit, respectively. Nice feed down low, and Cheryl Ford with the finish for Detroit's first field goal.
What Detroit did well in game 4 was go off the dribble and create shots off of that.
Griffith missing, and rebounded by Swin Cash. Entry pass to Ford. Back-to-back field goals for Cheryl Ford.
Great aggressive move. I mean, she is physically so strong. You're going to get an and one, or you're not going to be able to contest it. That's great stuff from Cheryl Ford.
She had 25 points in a game 1 loss. Came back with a double-double in game 4. Griffith from the elbow. And Yolanda Griffith with the field goal, her first. 4 points for her.
Sacramento, a motion offense team. They are an equal opportunity offense. They don't run sets for anybody. It just must come out of the natural consequence of the offense.
Shot clock inside of 10. Here's Nolan, who raised over Panachero and hit.
Very hard to guard Deanna Nolan. She is just a special basketball player, folks. Gets off her feet so well. The elevation makes it very hard to contest shots. Pretty jump shot.
Detroit won by 20 in game 4, despite the fact Nolan played 16 minutes, had 8 points. She was in foul trouble for much of the game. Griffith unable to finish. The nice dish from Lawson, and a Sacramento foul.
Cheryl Ford, the recipient of a solid look from Deanna Nolan. The dribble drive creates help, creates a great opportunity. Then just individually, face up, go at your defender, Dave, create a little space. Cheryl Ford, she makes that shot, forget about it.
Lawson commits a foul after the foul on Griffith, so 3 team fouls on Sacramento.
And Deanna Nolan, folks, as special of players you'll find, see the stagger screen they run for her. She does not need a lot of space as it is, and that is just pure.
Cash, nice feed to Riley. And Yolanda Griffith with the rebound. 4 points, 2 boards already for Yolanda Griffith. Panachero on the other end. Draws a foul on Katie Smith. That's her first, second on Detroit. Bob! Bill Lambier in his 4th year.
Hey, Bob!
After game
Walking into her down here.
3 for criticizing officials during a post-game press conference. He is wearing the live mic today. Wore a microphone in game 4, but it was not live, in part because of his anger towards ESPN for what he says was unfair commentary.
Well, his team played excellent basketball. They were aggressive inside. They played on yielding defense. When they play to their capabilities, I'm not sure there's a team in the league that can beat them.
Basket's good! Basket's good, Bob! Bob, the basket's good. Why are we punished? Why are we punished?
Yeah, both players in.
Ours. Her player didn't go in until the shot was left. Her player went in. Watch it on tape.
There's a double lane violation. Panachiro gets the second free throw, and Sacramento has a 1-point lead. Nolan off the dribble. Short. And it ricochets to Cash. Nolan passed up a shot there. Bill Laimbeer has been wanting her to take more jump shots. Declined that time. And then Durrell comes up with a play defensively. However, last touch by Sacramento.
Just great hustle, and it's an interesting substitution that John Wisnett has Shalonda Durrell, the rookie out of LSU in a basketball game. The reason why, long athletic defender, he needs to put some pressure on Detroit's backcourt. That's why she's playing.
Lisa Mattingly and Bob Trammell having a conversation as to who exactly it went off of.
Trying to watch them walking into us down here.
Went off of 2 Detroit players. Smith initially tried to get it to Riley. Almost ended up in the hands of Cash. Here's Durrell on the other end. Panachiro from outside. That's a 2 for Tisha Panachiro.
She rarely looks to shoot the basketball. They'll concede that jump shot.
And then Nolan and Ford not on the same page. Now, Detroit has turned it over a ton in this series. They averaged in the first 3 games 23 giveaways a game. Had only 15 in game 4.
Really, their losses were about them self-destructing. It was about nothing else. I mean, this is a very good defensive Sacramento team, but too many turnovers will cost you a championship.
Panachiro missing that time, and Ford with a rebound. Smith gets it ahead to Cash. 10-7 Sacramento. Cash misses the jump shot, and Yolanda Griffith touched it last. At least it appeared that Griffith touched it last, but they're going to give it to Sacramento.
Wow. That looked like it was off of Yolanda. She was trying to contend with Ruth on the weak side of the floor.
Durrell blocked by Nolan. Durrell, just a rookie from LSU, did have a big game 3 with 8 points. On the other end, Powell gets her second foul as she tried to strip Deanna Nolan.
Nice unselfish play by Deanna Nolan. She's physically taking
Katie.
Come up.
So Cash will shoot 2. That's the 4th team foul on Sacramento. Now, we mentioned the fact that the Team USA women's team in action starting this week on NBA TV at 6:45 Eastern Tuesday against China. Then on Wednesday against Nigeria, followed by NBA TV's coverage of the USA and Russia on Thursday beginning at 4:30 Eastern time.
Katie Smith and Cheryl Ford will join that basketball team very late. Will not have a lot of preparation time with the unit.
Cheryl Ford just named Team USA. Katie Smith has been on it all along. They'll leave Monday for Brazil, where the games are being held. Cash gets both free throws, and she has 3 points. Here's Micah Ba, that little step-through move. And a loose ball foul on Sacramento. Rebecca Brunson commits the foul. Her first.
Katie.
Tisha is picking for whoever she passes to. Show was open then, because Tisha picked for her over here. Okay?
Well, he's just instructing Hapsitu Magaba. Did not like the shot she took, and he was directing her where he wanted the basketball to go, to whomever Tisha was picking for. In that instance, it was Sholanda Durrell, the rookie out of LSU.
Pearson then able to hit the first free throw.
Is there only one scoreboard in the whole house?
Bonnet Pearson, one of those wired for sound today. Better numbers from game 4. We're tied at 10 midway through the opening quarter.
Detroit comes with a little soft pressure. We've seen this from them in the past. A little 2-2-1. They can fall back into a man or a zone. Looks like they're matching up.
Brunson really struggled from the floor in the series. Cheryl Ford gets the board.
Her tendency is to take bad shots.
Cash, nice skip to Nolan. Can't hit the 3. And Cash with the save. But Durrell comes up with it for Sacramento.
Rebecca Brunson, too many face-up 15-foot jump shots. That's not her game.
Magaba unable to hit the jumper. And on the backside is Pearson. Katie Smith off the dribble. Hits the J. First shot, and it drops for Katie Smith, and Detroit has a 2-point lead.
So I think you have to identify her early. You cannot allow her to come up the floor uncontested, Dave. Get in her face because she's so capable of pulling the trigger quickly.
Had 22 points in game 4 and hit 3 triples in that game. Penachero spinning in the lane. Able to get it to Magaba somehow, and she put it home.
Nice pass. Outstanding job by Magaba to come up with it.
Pearson running the floor. Detroit's bigs can get up and down the floor, but Pearson unable to connect. Nolan spins out. And Durrell tracks it down for the Monarchs.
See, both teams not taking particularly good shots up and down the floor. I think there is a little bit of nervousness. Everybody wants to make the first push.
Penachero will shoot again. Very active offensively so far in the game. Taking 3 shots, 4 points for Penachero to go along with 2 assists. But missed that shot. Here's Nolan off the bounce. Pearson hits it over Brunson.
She's been an unsung hero for this basketball team. A major step forward by Bonnet Pearson this year. She has worked hard to be better.
Averaging 8 points per game in the playoffs, right around 6 points per game during the regular year. Struggled a bit in the finals, averaging right around 4 points per game. Durrell with another brick. Now the bench not scoring so far for Sacramento. They're 1 for 6 from the floor, 2 points. In game 3, they had 42 points off the bench. And then only 17 in game 4 when they lost. Smith got her own miss, and she was fouled. Hard to tell if it hit the rim, though. If it didn't hit the rim, it'll be Sacramento's ball.
Backboard. And she got it, and then you blew your whistle. So, we're going to go to a timeout, and when we come back, it's going to be...
We can't go to timeout.
Suspension of play. White. White. Here's the deal. She shot the ball. It hit the backboard. She gained it. Lisa blew the whistle. Inadvertent whistle, suspension of play.
So inadvertent whistle, and Detroit will keep the basketball.
John, if it hits the backboard or the rim.
And Tina Naper trying to explain that to John Wisner.
It did hit the backboard.
And that's all that's necessary. That's why she can rebound her own.
Line!
Pearson in the lane, and she traveled. Looked like she had that pivot foot down, but they call a whistle, and that's or call a travel rather. 5 turnovers on Detroit. But the Shock has a 2-point lead, getting it done on the inside and on the outside.
Well, Katie Smith, outstanding pass inside. Bonnet Pearson has just improved vastly. Nice job by Detroit. And then in transition, Katie Smith. This is one tough nut, folks. Look out if she's got the ball in her hands.
Hi, I'm Katie Smith, and this is the WNBA Finals on ESPN2.
At all new.
Visit AOL.com for the latest WNBA highlights.
The it's been a lot of fun. I think I think I've said, as you get older, you enjoy it more. You really kind of soak up the whole experience and what it's all about. And it'll mean a ton. You know, championships are hard to come by, and I'll take one if I can. Don't want to let this one slip away.
Katie Smith has transitioned to the one guard, folks. Watch how smart she is. It's been seamless because of her basketball intellect. She's actually going to use an opponent, Yolanda Griffith, who's retreating defensively as a screen. She screens her own player, Shalonda Durrell, because Katie Smith sets her up to do so. That is fantastic stuff.
Katie Smith playing in her first WNBA Finals. Spent most of her career in this league with Minnesota. Traded to Detroit towards the end of last season. The Shock barely got into the playoffs. And Smith just kind of sat back, was more of an observer when it came to being a leader on the floor, and then she became much more vocal in the offseason. An interesting relationship with Bill Laimbeer, and that Coach Laimbeer allows Smith to challenge him in front of the rest of the team sometimes. And that's one of the reasons why Detroit is here, is Demaya Walker gets the rebound on the stick back to tie it at 14. And then Detroit with another turnover. That's 6 giveaways by the Shock already.
6 turnovers. Stop the turnovers.
He knows how important they are, and those are silly ones. That's not because Sacramento put great pressure on you. That's a mental breakdown right there.
Brunson working on Pearson and hits it off the window.
I tell you, this is a person who's got so much physical ability that's yet to be tapped. Rebecca Brunson could be an all-star, folks. This is a tremendous athlete with so much upside. It's scary.
6th lead change already. Sacramento by 2. Game 5, a decisive game here in the 2006 WNBA Finals. Sacramento trying to win its 2nd straight title. Braxton, who was very good in Game 4, missed that time. Shot clock at 1. And Pearson apparently heard Bill Laimbeer saying, shoot it.
Damn us.
Couldn't make it, though. Kristen Haney, who's a Michigan native playing for Sacramento, has been a big factor in this series. In fact, you and I were talking before the game as she's fouled by Powell, and you thought that she should be given some MVP consideration if Sacramento wins this series.
No question. She's been integral to their assistance off the bench. And that's a case in point right there. She's not as good an athlete as Elaine Powell, but how does she set her up? A little change of pace crossover. You know, use it to your advantage, your best skill. And Kristen Haney, that's her smarts and her savvy.
Haney off the dribble, hits the J.
Nice and relaxed.
3.
And Game 2, she had 11 points, had 9 points in Game 3. A 6-0 run by Sacramento, and then a foul by the Monarchs on the other end. And Detroit will be shooting free throws the remainder of the quarter.
No, hey, she's not shooting.
Foul was on Haney.
Why? She wasn't shooting.
John Wisnett saying it wasn't Deanna Nolan that was fouled.
It's 5 personal fouls in the quarter. That's why they're shooting. It's bonus.
But I think he thought it was someone else that was fouled.
No, it was Nolan coming up in transition. It was Nolan.
Well, earlier Wisnett was asking if there's another scoreboard here, so maybe he didn't know that. We only have, because again, this is not an arena where we normally have basketball, we have the Jumbotron, and then we have scoreboards that are up high on the 2 sides that, unless you know they're there, you wouldn't see him, so perhaps Wisnett did not see him, but clearly that was the 15 foul. So free throws, as we said, the rest of the quarter for Detroit. Walker from outside. Cash gets tied up with Walker, who goes after the basketball. Nice aggressive move. And we'll have a jump ball situation.
Go! Get her right hand. Get over there.
Demaya, that's a shot she can get later in the shot clock. We've seen her take that early in the shot clock off in that 15-foot shot.
Cash got up there and wins the tap.
What is that?
And then another Detroit turnover. That's 7 as Cash gives it away this time. Haney on the other end.
Poor pass, just not the angle and not the space.
And then Braxton commits a foul on Brunson. That's Kara Braxton's first and the 4th on the Shock. One more team foul on Detroit, and Sacramento will be shooting for the remainder of the period.
Cash got 3 turnovers. He's got who? Who do you put in? Powell turned the ball over as soon as he got in the game.
Only one giveaway for sacks, 7 for Detroit.
Those turnovers have been a major factor in both of their losses.
Haney from outside. Can't hit the jump shot. Pearson able to get the rebound. And then a foul. And if that's Powell, that's 3. It is. 3rd foul on Nicole Powell. And Pearson will go to the line to shoot 1 plus the penalty. Micah Ball will have to come in and replace Nicole Powell. And that's a loss for Sacramento. Powell hasn't scored. Did not score in the second half of game 4. But is one of the leading scorers for Sacramento in this series. 13 points per game.
You took the bait. Tina, you took the bait. You let her do it to you, Tina.
John Wisner pleading his case, but it was absolutely a foul. Pearson had control of the basketball, and if you're Powell, you have to recognize your value to your team. 3 fouls in the first quarter. She's been their second leading scorer in this series. Gives them a perimeter punch. Now with Micah, you get a better defender, maybe a better foot, and a better slasher in transition, but you want that perimeter scorer.
This will be the 10th free throw attempt for Detroit in the quarters. Sacramento has attempted 4, made all 4. The Shock 7 of 10 at the line. Sacramento by 1. Shot clock difference about 11 compared to the game clock. Brunson, offensive foul.
Great play by Pearson. I mean, that's just somebody using her foot speed to beat an offensive player to the spot. Nice job defensively.
Like I do.
I mean, watch this. She actually is defending her. Brunson a little dip down, hit into her, and that's why the foul is called.
Second one on Brunson. About 2 seconds difference between the game and shot clocks. Nolan with the basketball. She has 4 points in the quarter. 5 seconds to shoot. Nolan gets inside of Walker. It did not hit the rim, and it's a shot clock violation. Clock stops at 1.8, but they should put on about a half a second on the clock.
24-second violation. It's not a 24.
That is a shot clock violation. Did not hit the rim.
2.9.
And they're going
At least ask your partner if they had possession first. All right?
And they will put a second on the clock.
Here? All right.
But there's some time to get off a halfway decent shot here. Haney from half court. And maybe could have gotten a better shot, but they'll take a 1-point lead after the first quarter. Sacramento trying to become the first ever road team to clinch in the deciding game on the road. Game 5 of the WNBA Finals from the Joe in Detroit. Sacramento by 1 after 1. The Detroit Shock care about their community. Kara Braxton recently joined Pistons forward Dale Davis to host a back-to-school event for children staying at the Villages at Parkside in Detroit. The young residents had a chance to pick up school supplies, get haircuts, and collect autographs from their favorite players. WNBA cares, leading, inspiring, and creating positive change. Welcome back to ESPN2's coverage of the WNBA Finals presented by Vonage. We're getting ready for the start of the second quarter. Sacramento, surprise, surprise, leading after the first quarter again. But in the second through fourth quarters, in their losses, they have really struggled shooting the basketball, just 25% in the final 3 quarters in each of their losses.
Yeah, I think a lot of that has to do with the stingy nature of Detroit's defense. They're long, they're athletic, and when they're committed defensively, they're as good as it gets in this league. And remember, Sacramento, again, they run that motion offense, and it's hard to generate shots at times.
You look at Detroit, already 8 turnovers. They're on pace for 32. And they're on pace for a WNBA record for turnovers in the finals before game 4. And that's still not a great number, 15.
Yeah, and as good as Sacramento is defensively, a lot of their turnovers come from passing angles. They've tried to make the lob pass into the post from either the top or the side, and it hasn't been effective.
Lawson been quiet since the opening moments of the game. Nice move by Demaya Walker. That's 4 points for Walker.
I tell you, she's fast. As soon as she catches that ball, she attacks the rim.
Here's Nolan, who is just 1 out of 5 shooting in the first half. Shot clock at 8. Nolan looking for some room. Timer's at 4. Cash. And she's 0 for 2 from the floor. Haney with the rebound.
Really good defense by Sacramento. I think Ruth Riley gets away with a lot of illegal screens. She does it masterfully.
And here's a foul inside on Cheryl Ford. He was battling with Rebecca Brunson. That's only the first on Ford.
I just diagrammed the dribble handoff and he's arguing with me. Switch.
Come here, Mike. Come here. Becky.
Haney, nice entry pass to Walker. And she's able to convert back-to-back hooks for Demaya Walker.
She's thinner and lighter than Detroit's front line, so she's got to use that speed.
Largest lead of the game for Sacramento. Here in Game 5 of the 2006 WNBA Finals. Nolan shot won't drop, but Cash on the backside gets the board. These two teams split the first 2 games at the Palace. Split games 3 and 4 at Arco Arena in Sacramento. Game 5 is here at Joe Louis Arena in Detroit. Shot clock at 7. Riley, nice block by Brunson. And Haney out of there with the basketball.
How about Brunson's up? Twice in the pipes. We see you, Rebecca.
Brunson on the other end, working on Riley. And Rebecca Brunson has the hot hand. She has 4 points and a block on the other end.
She teases you because every once in a while she gives you glimpses of how good she can be. All that ups. And a little soft touch around the rim. Rebecca Brunson, keep working.
6-0 start for Sacramento here in the second quarter, and Detroit calls for time.
We're ready to go back in. Now the combination.
Well, Rebecca Brunson twice in the pipes. Looks like Ruth Riley's going to have an easy deuce. Rebecca says, no, thank you. I'm going the other way. I'm going to score on you, Ruth Riley. You might be the vet, but I'm coming at you. Great stuff. Little face-up. Get them off the feet. Go to the rim. Yes, ma'am.
Atmosphere tonight, Ohio State and Texas, and we've got championship-type atmosphere here in Detroit. Demaya Walker giving Sacramento a big lift here today.
Already much more active than she was in Game 4. They have responded by going to the block. Kara lost a nice little dump down. And remember, 6'3", 6'3" up front for Sacramento. They are not as big or as physically strong or as thick as Detroit, so they've got to use their speed as their advantage.
Walker with 6 points. Sacramento is 3 for 3 from the floor in the second quarter. Nolan from outside, and that ends a stretch of 7 straight misses by the shot.
Right player to go to off that timeout. That's just a good play call from the sideline.
6 now for Nolan. Walker on Ford. And Demaya Walker is going to be slow to get off the floor. Second foul on Cheryl Ford, second on Detroit in the quarter. This has been a very physical series, no surprise, based on how both these teams play basketball.
Again, she's trying to use her speed, and the right leg is where the foul is called. You wonder if she's not gotten a Charlie horse or a bruise because she's still bouncing up and down her toes. I don't think she's comfortable yet.
Well, she can bounce back from having a baby 4 months ago, having a C-section, mind you, to play in this league. I think she'll be all right with a Charlie horse, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, she's better in terms of her ability to sustain her effort for longer stretches.
She missed the first 11 games of the season after giving birth. Panachero had hung on the rim, wouldn't drop. Meanwhile, that's the third Detroit foul in the quarter. Second personal on Katie Smith.
How can she complain about that? How can she complain about that call? They complain about every call. They must get it from their coach.
How can she complain about that call? They must get it from their coach.
Sideline elbow.
Well, the coaches do have a good relationship. They talk during the regular season, but there's no question John Wisman has become irritated with Bill Laimbeer. He was quoted as saying that he noticed his players getting frustrated because he sees Coach Laimbeer frustrated and the Detroit players constantly frustrated with the officiating.
Becky Hammond touched on this in the pregame show. She said Detroit got every benefit of the doubt in Game 4 in terms of officiating. And I agree with that. The margin was so big that the officiating had nothing to do with the outcome. But certainly how a game is officiated, if it's allowed to be physical, favors Detroit.
I don't think you could say officiating has really played much of a role in any of these games. All 4 games have been decided by at least 10, 3 of them by at least 20. As Cheryl Ford hits from the outside, she's 3 for 3, 6 points.
If that becomes a consistent part of her arsenal, she'll be an MVP in this league because she's such a dominant rebounder and low post presence.
Lawson got tripped up. Nolan has the basketball. Nolan misses the layup. She might have been thinking dunk for a moment, and perhaps that tripped her up. Yolanda Griffith puts it in off the window on the other end.
Huge swing right there. That is a 4-point swing, folks. Missed tripping. Great job by Panachero just to let her hear footsteps and think about it.
Do you think it was that more than you think it was her perhaps thinking, Game 5, I'm going to throw it down?
I don't know if that would be in her mindset in this setting, only because she knows how important each and every point is. She's physically capable, folks. And they list her at 5'10". If she's 5'9", I feel like that's generous. That's just tremendous physical skill.
Walker with the first personal foul for her will lead the game. First team foul in the quarter as Katie Smith gets the jump shot to go. 4 now for Smith, and Detroit back within 4. Micah Bob, and she gets it to go off the pane.
Wow, I was just about to say bad shot. I mean, I thought that was a forced effort transition. That's length that allows her to get that off.
It can still be a bad shot if it goes in. Just the reaction from the coach is a little bit different. And here's a Sacramento foul. That's the second team foul.
She just went up and dropped the ball.
Carol Lawson gets her second personal foul. And she'll go to the bench. Just 2 points for Lawson, taking only 1 shot. And that was, if not the first possession of the game, one of the first 2 or 3. And Durrell will come into the game.
Major challenge for Lawson to get shots against this defense.
Sacramento has not missed this quarter. 5 out of 5. Smith misses the long J, and Brunson clears. And then Sacramento turns it over. It's only the 4th turnover by the Monarchs, 8 committed by Detroit. Smith on the other end, last touch by Sacramento. See the bench points, 10-4 in favor of Sacramento. They only got 17 bench points, or make that 11 bench points, excuse me, in Game 4, Sacramento did. They had the best bench during the regular season. Nolan and Panachero with the rebound.
Great pursuit of the basketball because that was right near Cheryl Ford, who usually gobbles those up.
Panachero's got a couple of rebounds, a couple of assists, 5 points already in the game.
Corner! Corner!
Micah Bob left open. Poked out to Smith. Cash on the drive, and she carried. 9th Detroit turnover.
She and Nolan, that handle's got to be tighter because they are both such good slashers, such good athletes. The ball gets away from them at times.
All of the factors Sacramento has used to win 2 games in this series are in play here in this game. They're winning the turnover battle. Their bench is outscoring Detroit's bench significantly. Nolan takes it away from 2 Monarchs. Waits for Pearson. Takes it hard to the goal and won't.
Number 9.
You ask the player to stay in her box. Do what you do well. Well, Quinette Pearson, like the Sacramento players inside, doesn't have great size. What she does possess is great foot speed, and she's aggressive to the rim. And you get off your feet well, you draw contact. Look at that outstretched arm. I mean, that is just great attack of the rim.
Quinette Pearson on pace for a double-double. 6 points, 4 rebounds. Her numbers down in the finals. And for a while there in the playoffs, she was averaging about 12 points per game. Cuts the Sacramento lead to 3.
Well, we've talked a lot about Sacramento's bench. It's been huge, but they've gotten good contributions from Powell and Pearson and Braxton. Detroit has.
Yolanda Griffith. Here's Lawson, a deep 3. Hit it! Carol Lawson with 5 points, and Sac is back up 6. He has tremendous range, Kara Lawson, one of the best shooters in this league. Almost another opportunity at a three-point play for Lynette Pearson. Boy, has she been active on both ends of the floor today.
Sacramento's not doing a great job checking her. But Kara Lawson on the other side, you have got to get space because Nolan's so athletic. It's been hard to get shots. So what does she do? She steps back to create enough space to get it off.
Foul was on Brunson. That's her third. Detroit with its 12th free throw attempt already in the game. 14 fouls on Sacramento. One more, and Detroit will be in the penalties, potentially for a significant amount of time in the quarter. Aaron Busher, who is mic'd up today, will come in and replace Brunson. Four rebounds to go along with those 8 points for Pearson. Former first-round draft pick has really found a niche with this Detroit team. Braxton and Cash trying to save it. About 6 bodies on the floor.
Good hustle, everybody. Take it easy getting up.
You know it's game 5 when you see something like that.
We're going to wipe this floor.
They might need
Right here.
3 mops for that job there on the floor.
Great job by the officials, too, because they see all these bodies and they jump right in and say, great hustle, but everybody hitting the deck. The officials rush in to make sure no extracurriculars happen inside there. Great job by everybody.
Someone let it go out of bounds.
Oh, my God.
So we'll go to Sacramento.
He's complained about every call so far. His whole team does.
Panachero off the dribble, challenging foul, hit the side of the backboard, and then Griffith is fouled as she threw it up. Bring Heather Cox into the mix.
A lot of talk during Game 4 and after Game 4 was on the physical nature of the Detroit Shock and how the officiating may have swayed one way or the other. Well, Coach Wisnett said, you know what? It was our fault. Yes, the Shock was more physical, but it was because we allowed them to be. We know we have to go after all the loose balls, get the long rebounds, do the little things, and go toe-to-toe physically with them. And I think in that last loose ball we saw, the team is actually listening to Coach Wisnett in this final game.
And he was also, as we mentioned earlier, frustrated with his players paying too much attention to the complaints by the Shock players and coaches. And we don't see that today. They seem to be turning away when either Bill Lambier or Detroit players talking to one of the officials.
You have to be focused. This is a test of will. Sometimes it's not about who's more physically talented. It's who's more focused, who commits the fewest mistakes.
14 fouls on each team. Nolan left 3. That's a 2. And Nolan with 6 points, make it 8 points in the contest.
And it never hurts to have talent, especially one like Nolan.
Micah Baugh going backside, and she was fouled, and Sacramento's going to be in the penalty for the remainder of the quarter. And that's 3 on Cheryl Ford. So Powell has 3 for Sacramento. Ford has 3 for Detroit, and Cheryl Ford might be done for the remainder of the half. Micah Baugh at the free throw line as Ford will go to the bench with her 3rd foul. Go to WNBA.com or WNBA.com/AOL during the second half of today's game to vote for the 2006 Finals MVP. After the game, come back to WNBA.com for complete finals recap coverage, including video highlights and much more.
I think we need to hear more from Katie Smith, as she's been quiet after the good start.
It's interesting, we were in Sacramento for Game 4. They passed out MVP ballots to us at halftime when Detroit was up, and when they're up 20, they wanted to come and collect them and find out who we voted for. Meanwhile, Detroit was winning, and we were going to have Game 5. But they were dead set on winning that game. I think everybody in that building, including a lot of analysts, me included, thought Sacramento was going to win Game 4 at Arco Arena.
Well, the first thing I said in a WNBA.com interview was after Game 4, Detroit was physically capable of winning, more than capable, in fact.
Yolanda Griffith, good defense by Pearson. And she kicks it out to Nolan for three.
You've got to identify shooters in transition, and I think you need a little more ball pressure if you're Sacramento. You cannot allow them to come up the floor uncontested.
Nolan has told us all series she has to be more aggressive, taking more shots. She's taken 12, almost half of Detroit's total, as Haney gets one to drop. But Nolan has 11 in the game, and just as Detroit starts to make a run, Sacramento gets a basket and then a careless turnover by the shot. 10 Detroit giveaways. Busher with that step-through move. It won't roll home. And it will stay Sacramento ball. That's a bad call.
I think so. Yeah, they're going to reverse it. Good officiating by Lisa Mattingly. She saw it clearly.
We have a timeout on the floor.
Right call. They made the right call.
John Wisden trying to capture his second straight WNBA title, but not if Deanna Nolan can help it. She has 11, and Detroit is within 6.
Hi, I'm Deanna Nolan, and this is the WNBA Finals on ESPN2.
Dakota, Nancy Lieberman, Becky Hammond. It's Sacramento by 6. Detroit with 10 turnovers.
Well, turnovers are absolutely killing Detroit. It's been the Achilles heel in the series. Becky, they have 9 already. Sac doing a better job?
Well, I think Sacramento's doing a good job of taking care of the ball in transition. But in the half court, I'd like to see them a little bit better shot selection in the half court.
All right, we'll see at the half. Back down to Doris and Dave.
Not just turnovers, guys. No second chance points for Detroit. This is a team that gets a lot of points off of offensive rebounds. They have 3 offensive rebounds today, but they haven't been able to put it back up and in.
Well, Sacramento was outboarded 40-26 in Game 4. That was a deciding factor. Clearly, they've made a concerted effort to even things up. But Nancy makes a great point. It has been Detroit's self-destruction that has cost them in this series. Really, when they don't turn the ball over, play aggressive defense, take advantage of their inside, I don't think there's a team in the league that can beat them.
15 turnovers in Game 4, 8 fewer than they averaged in the first 3 games. And an offensive foul on Detroit.
I'll take that. I mean, Lynette Pierce is working so hard, folks, and has come with so much energy. You've got to give her this. I mean, nothing you can do. When a player makes a mistake of effort, I am okay with it.
Smith.
First personal on Pearson, but because it's an offensive foul, no free throws, even though already 5 team fouls on Detroit and 11 turnovers now. The bench getting it done for Sacramento. 14 points after just 11 from the reserves in Game 4. And Maigaba goes to work again off the bench. And the largest lead of the game for Sacramento.
She's earned her spot in the league by being a defensive stopper. She's taken her offensive game to the next level.
8 points this game for Maigaba, averaging about 3 per game in the playoffs. 8 on the shot clock. Nice pass. Cash can't finish, though. That's been another issue for Detroit in this series. The inability to make layups. Walker. Rebound Pearson. A key 65 seconds for Detroit. Nolan falling away. It will stay Detroit basketball.
Nolan's got to continue to attack the rim. You saw early that she can get shots for herself or other people. Now, just because they miss a chip, you don't get frustrated. Continue to attack the rim. You'll get good shots for yourself or somebody else inside.
Nolan 4 out of 13 from the field. Riley from outside. Big shot for Ruth Riley, the finals MVP when Detroit won it in 2003.
Timely bucket. You didn't want this thing to get too far away from you if you were Detroit.
Their first point since Game 3. They go to Walker again. Can't bank it home. Offensive rebound for Griffith.
Rebound!
Walker scores this time.
Great post position. She's being assertive, getting early inside spots.
About 10-second differential between the shot clock and game clock. Pearson. Riley. Foul.
They missed 2 calls in one sequence right there. First of all, it was an offensive foul push-off with the right hand by Pearson. Then it was a travel, and instead you're going to come up with a couple free throws.
Agabah's second personal, 15 foul on Sacramento. Look at the numbers from Ruth Riley back in 2003. How much of that has to do with confidence? And how much of it is just her skills deteriorating?
Well, no, it's not. Believe me, this is about a mentality for Ruth Riley, not her physical skills. They are there. I'm not sure she's in the perfect system for her, but believe me, the skills are there. Ruth has her confidence ebb and flow, and you don't know when she's going to show and when she won't.
Shot clock is off. 10 seconds to go in the half. Yolanda Griffith, the finals MVP from a year ago. Lawson leans in and hits with 0.9 on the clock. Nolan from 3/4 court, and that will end the half. Kara Lawson hit a big shot earlier in this series going to the locker room. Sacramento went on to win that game. Will Sacramento capture game 5 as Lawson buries a shot with 0.9 on the clock to stretch the lead to 8 at halftime? Let's check in with Heather Cox.
Yolanda, after the game 4 loss, you and the rest of the team admitted that you lost focus looking ahead to the celebration. How do you avoid looking ahead tonight, knowing you might be 20 minutes away from a title?
We're not even thinking about that. We got another 20 minutes. We know what happened in Sacramento. We also know what happened in game 2. They came out aggressive. They wanted it, and we backed down. We got to just stay focused and know that right now it's 0-0.
What have you done to establish a much-needed physical presence inside?
You know, we had some good looks in Sacramento. We just didn't, score. We got to take our time, be a little more patient. We have a great inside game. We got to use our inside. And if they double team, we got to throw it on the outside and have confidence to knock the shots down.
Yolanda, thanks for your time. Now let's go upstairs to Linda Cohn.
Thanks, Heather, and I'm joined by Nancy Lieberman and Becky Hammond. And you heard Yolanda Griffith. I mean, this is a different Sacramento team that we saw in game 4. Why is that?
Well, Detroit